Midnight Drearies.
The original Labor Day Massacre was known as the Haymarket Affair, whose violence brought about the granting of the holiday we know today as Labor Day. There have been numerous other work-related riots and killings dubbed the Labor Day Massacre by the media. So this is the official sequel to the Haymarket incident. Labor Day Massacre Part 3. The sun set over the sprawling cityscape, casting long shadows across the empty streets. The once vibrant heart of the nation lay silent, but beneath the surface, a sinister transformation was taking place. In the land of the free, the American dream had become a waking nightmare. It had started as whispers, murmurs of discontent echoing through cubicles and break rooms. People toiled away in soul-sucking jobs, working long hours for meager paychecks while the cost of living continued to rise. The promise of prosperity had faded into a distant memory, replaced by a life of monotony and exhaustion. As the months turned into years, a profound sense of despair had settled over the nation. The American people had become office zombies, their faces etched with weariness, their eyes vacant and lifeless. They shuffled through the motions, their dreams crushed beneath the weight of economic inequality and political corruption. Labor Day, once a celebration of workers' rights and the achievements of the labor movement, had lost its meaning. It had become just another day of work for the weary masses, a reminder of their never-ending struggle to make ends meet. But this Labor Day was different. This year, the office zombies had had enough. The discontent had simmered beneath the surface for too long, and it was time to rise up against the corrupt politicians and corporate overlords who had driven them to the brink. In the days leading up to Labor Day, whispers of rebellion spread like wildfire through the cubicles and office corridors. Secret meetings were held in dimly lit break rooms, where disenchanted workers plotted their revolt. They had seen the news reports of protests and strikes across the country, and they were ready to join the fight. On the eve of Labor Day, the office zombies gathered in a hidden warehouse on the outskirts of the city. They wore tattered business suits and carried makeshift weapons crafted from office supplies. Their leader, a former middle manager named Sarah, stepped forward to address the crowd. "Brothers and sisters," she said, her voice growling with conviction, "we have been pushed to the brink, but we will not be silenced any longer. Tomorrow, on Labor Day, we will rise up against the corrupt politicians and corporate elites who have enslaved us for far too long. We will take back our dignity, our freedom, and our future." The office zombies erupted into cheers, their vacant eyes flickering with newfound determination. They had nothing left to lose and everything to gain. As the clock struck midnight, they set out into the darkened streets, their numbers growing with each block they passed. Dawn broke over the undead mutant monstrosities. At the heart of the city, a massive Labor Day parade was in full swing by the time the zombies arrived. Politicians in tailored suits waved from ornate floats, their smiles as empty as the promises they had made. The office zombies approached the parade route, their numbers now in the thousands. As they closed in, the zombies' chants grew louder, drowning out the speeches and patriotic songs. "No more overtime. No more lies," they shouted in unison. Panic spread through the ranks of the politicians and corporate scumlords, who had never seen such a display of collective rage. The police were dispatched to contain the uprising, but they too had grown weary of the system. Officers joined the ranks of the office zombies, their badges discarded on the pavement. The politicians and elites were cornered, their faces pale with fear as they realized the tables had turned. The office zombies demanded justice, transparency, and fair wages. They demanded an end to the cycle of exploitation that had turned them into hollow shells of their former selves. The politicians were forced to listen, their power crumbling in the face of the people's fury. In the days that followed, a wave of change swept through the nation. Corrupt politicians were ousted from office, others eaten, and new leaders emerged from the ranks of the people. Laws were passed to protect workers' rights and to ensure that the American dream was within reach for all. The office zombies had risen up on Labor Day, not as mindless drones, but as a force to be reckoned with. They had reclaimed their humanity and their hope for a better future. The sun rose over the city once more, but this time, it brought with it the promise of a brighter tomorrow, where the American dream was once again within reach for all who dared to dream.